Hello, friends. I'm your neurofabulous friend, late diagnosed AuDHD, and today I'm talking about AuDHD burnout again. Also known as I'm currently really burnt out, even though I've tried resting and color coding my life and still feel like a malfunctioning laptop. So, if you're a woman who was diagnosed later in life and you are exhausted in a way sleep does not fix, this video is for you. Hopefully by the end of this video, we will understand what AuDHD burnout actually is clinically and why it shows up so hard for late diagnosed women and what the research actually says to help and what quietly makes it so much worse. Yeah, this is not a productivity pep talk, queens. This is not where we're at. Not productivity pep talk. If you want a productivity pep talk, go somewhere else. It's not today. Anyway, we have not met before. I work in leadership and risk and organizational stuff. I also hold a master's of law somewhere up on the wall. And I focus on work safety and psychosocial risk. And I'm late diagnosed autistic and ADHD. So I sit right at the intersection of research and workplaces and lived experience. And I feel like I am currently burnt out. It's bonkers. And now, anyway, I spend my professional life watching systems burn people out, especially neurodivergent women. So, before we get into it, if this topic resonates, please, my book, Unmasking Leadership, is linked below. It has an entire chapter on what happens when neurodivergent women are rewarded for masking until they can't do it anymore, and how leadership and work essentially needs to change. It's all right. Let's get into it. Okay. So, what is AuDHD burnout? And we've spoken about this in a previous video. Absolutely. AuDHD burnout is not laziness, it's not a motivation problem, it's not the same thing as being tired or stressed. Clinically, burnout in autistic adults is described as a prolonged state of physical, emotional, and cognitive exhaustion, often with a loss of functioning and increased sensitivity. ADHD burnout shows up as executive collapse, decision paralysis, emotional overload. But when you have autism and ADHD and they co occur, these kind of stack up on each other, which makes it a bit of a hot mess express. Research over the last 5 years shows that autistic burnout is driven by prolonged masking, I can't even speak. Sensory and social overload, unmet support needs, and sustained stress without recovery. ADHD research shows that burnout is strongly linked to executive function overload, especially time pressure, task switching, and constant self correction. Look, I'm so burnt out. Like, even hearing my own voice right now actually hurts my ears, where I'm just like, oh my God, it like actually hurts. Cool. So we put these together and you get AuDHD burnout. This is not about doing too much in a single week. This is about doing too much for years. Now, the reason we're talking about this today is because on my way to the school drop-off and back home from the school drop-off, I realized that I was potentially burnt out this week. A lot has gone on. It's been a busy week. It has been a really busy week. And I think it was just like layer upon layer of like things that didn't go to plan. And I think the school drop off was potentially like the last straw for this camel. So essentially, in my mind, time is very rigid. And this is I realize that this isn't an autistic trait, and so my time is very rigid. So in my mind, when I'm getting the kids ready in the morning, it's like, we are leaving in 5 minutes, because in my mind, if we leave any later than that, there are things that will happen within that time frame that will make us late, or we're not on time, because I like to be precisely on time wherever precisely on time or a little bit early, wherever we go. And so I'm like, we have got 10 minutes to leave the house. And then if we are too late, then it just like messes me up a little bit. So we've just moved. Moving is its own hot mess express. And I found that I knew in my mind approximately that it would take 20 minutes to get to school from the new place, and that I would drop the kids, and then it would take approximately 20 minutes to get home. And that's a 40-minute round trip. Now, in my mind, 40 minutes is a waste of my time. Like, it's too long to be in the car. Like, I am comfortable with like a 20-minute round trip or a 30-minute round trip, but 40 to me sounds like too much. So then I start getting panicky about the fact that it's too much. And then other stuff starts annoying me. Like, so sound at the moment is a big one. I just want to sit in silence. So I've booked my day out so I don't have any meetings, so I don't have any input like the whole day, which has been fantastic because now, like, post work, it's been great. So I was able to recover a little bit that way. I also didn't have to show up and pretend to be something, happy, cheerful. How's your day going? Great, thank you. Okay, so a lot of masking in that regard. So the rigidity of the time is a huge issue, and it becomes more rigid when I am feeling towards burnout. Everything becomes more rigid. Like, things have to be in certain places, like I have to have certain things available to me, like snacks or whatever, just to make sure that I am feeling like, more regulated. It helps me feel more regulated. So that is where we're at. So this is why I thought I would talk about this topic again, because it is something I've spoken about before, and I'll link the video in the notes, but it is something I have spoken about before. So I kind of wanted, in my mind, to understand a little bit more about why this is actually happening. Like, what is the science behind this? Because I like to understand the science. It makes me feel a little bit better. So women are far more likely to be missed in childhood diagnoses, right? Instead, because we're essentially praised for being capable and helpful and emotionally aware and high performing. And that means that as women, we end up masking early and deeply. Like, we start really focusing on like embedding that personality trait. So when you get a diagnosis and you are now like late diagnosed and you start unmasking, like, there are things that you have used as a tool to get you through that are just now not available to you anymore. Well, they're available to you, but they're exhausting. And this is just how this continues, the horrible perpetual cycle. So research shows camouflaging is one of the strongest predictors of autistic burnout severity. The more you mask, the higher the burnout. So with late diagnosed women, we often internalize those expectations, we over prepare to avoid mistakes, overfunction at work and at home, and compensate socially until it becomes like automatic, which is kind of what happened this week with like kind of the new stuff and working it out. So from the outside, it looks like I am functioning 100%, got the kids to school with lunch boxes, dressed, etc. But on the inside, I'm having a full nervous system marathon meltdown because I just feel like responsibilities have increased, potentially hormones have shifted. There was a lot going on at work this week, so the cognitive load stacks up as well. And I just today, like, cannot mask today. Like, not for me. So a lot of women, apparently, according to the research, are diagnosed after a major burnout because the systems really are set up to notice when you collapse rather than kind of the precursors. So I don't have a water in here. Why do I not have a water? Why is my water empty? For fuck's sake. Okay, regrouping. Usually I'd edit out this part, but you know what? You could just get what you get. You get what you get and be happy with it. So if you're thinking potentially that you resonate, see, I can't even speak. Like, this is so wild. If you're thinking that this resonates with you, please hit subscribe, follow, share. Come along on this hot mess journey, because I'm just working it out. Same as you. We're working it out as we go. And I'm not a neuropsychologist or someone who has some sort of fancy psychology degree. No, but I can read research. I can read research, and I can translate that sometimes into a more practical approach. So, with regards to these autistic and ADHD burnout processes, it doesn't resolve by being a better planner. It doesn't resolve for having more discipline. It doesn't resolve when you push through. It doesn't resolve from positive thinking. You just have to like do more positive thinking. Like, it'll be okay. Like, you're just burning out because you're a silly banana. No, bestie, it's not. These approaches actually often make it worse. What actually helps, according to evidence, is reducing demands and not optimizing output. So doing this video today was probably a hot mess. Like, let's just be very clear, but I didn't have any other time because it's a Friday evening and I had to get this out for a Saturday morning. I really need to pre-plan ahead. Usually what I do is I do it on a Sunday, but I did not have time last Sunday because we'd be moving house and blah. Anyway, it's important also to remove sensory and cognitive load. So now that it's the end of the day, I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to put on some white noise. I'm going to play some Animal Crossing. I might just order in takeaway food because that's where I'm going to get to. Changing environments, not just coping strategy as well. Proper treatment of ADHD where appropriate. Extended recovery time without guilt. Now, this is something that really affects me, as I really struggle to recover without guilt. I struggle to take any time for myself. So doing the Animal Crossing thing is going to be nice. Like, I might even do it in the bath because why not? Anyway, this is why rest alone, though, often fails. If you rest and then return back to the same conditions, burnout just comes straight back. So recovery really happens when capacity and demands are brought back into alignment. So I really need to work out next week to keep the week less chaotic than what this week has been, because I don't like the chaos and I don't like not knowing my rigidity on time, which I know sounds ridiculous, but if you are autistic, you're with me in the same boat, girl. All good. So this is why I talk so much about leadership and systems. Individual women cannot fix the system overload by themselves, which is exactly why I wrote the book that I did, because I really want people to understand that it is a system issue and that as leaders, we need to kind of fix the system issue. So thank you for coming along and listening to this chat, this hot mess chat about burnout and AuDHD. I'm hoping that maybe you recognize some of the traits as well. Like, I don't want you to kind of go away thinking, is this me? Comment below if you are curious. You know, I've read the research. Like, let me see if it matches up with the research. Let me know. I'm no psychologist, but I can have a look. So if you're late diagnosed, exhausted, and wondering why nothing you try seems to stick, please hear this. Doesn't matter. You are not the problem here. Your nervous system has been overworked for a bit of a long time. So if you want a deeper dive into how masking leadership expectations and work culture contributed to this, please have a read of my book, linked below. Unmasking Leadership. It's actually really cool. It's got a couple of nice reviews now too. Stop. And for the next little while, you'll see two really cool videos on the screen. One goes deeper into masking and burnout, and the other, it kind of looks at AuDHD and work capacity. So pick the one that feels gentlest for you today, and I will see you next week.